Hello everyone, so today I want to talk about what spiritual people want. Now I can't speak for all spiritual people, but I can speak for many because I know many spiritual people and I've studied many traditions. So with that in mind, let's move forward. Now, most spiritual people that I know want very similar things as to people in society that aren't spiritual. We want to thrive. We want to advance in a way that allows us to be social with other people, that allows us to be a part of society to a certain extent, and to be a part of a grander picture, a grander purpose for humanity. Now, for spiritual people, we often find ourselves in a niche that serves humanity in a different way than most people in society. Most people in society are a part of society in bringing up kids, bringing up children, working a job for, most people, I'd say the majority of their lives, and, having an impactful relationship with their community, their family, their children, and their friends in a way that's positive. Most people, most good people in society want that. They want to be a positive influence, and they want to be a part of the grander whole. And the grander whole, especially filtering in, and their hopes for, filtering into their children. Good people want that, and that's wonderful. And then spiritual people want that as well. We want to further humanity. We want to be a positive influence in this world. And we want to live in a symbiotic relationship with everything else, just like people in society, most people in society, to where we're benefiting not just ourselves, but the vast majority of the human race. At least good people do. There are bad people who just want to benefit their one community or their one nation, or maybe even just their one skin color. But as far as the average person in society, and I'm speaking from a place in Texas, around Dallas, I think that most people want to live in a symbiotic relationship and benefit the rest of mankind to one degree or another. Now, what spiritual people want is to live in that symbiotic relationship and to influence humanity in a positive way. But we also see the bigger picture, that this one life, this life that we're in right now, is not the extent of the human soul. Who we are as a soul is very different from this one life that we live here right now. Now, in Christianity and other Abrahamic religions and in many other spiritual traditions, but certainly not all, we live this one life. We'll go to an afterlife where we look the same, where we do similar things. But I would say that, many people believe in reincarnation. Hindus, Buddhists, and other traditions, even Asatru. There are many Asatwar that believe in reincarnation because it makes the most sense. Now, we see the bigger picture over many lifetimes. And I can't speak for all spiritual people, even ones that believe in reincarnation, but I can speak for a large number. We see over many lifetimes that we will be helping or hindering this world and its people and all of the plant life, all of the fauna, and all of, the atmosphere of Earth over many lifetimes. And we decide to make progress in this life and use our life in order to further that end. And karma is also, has been, but is definitely becoming a very well-known factor when it comes to cause and effect on a grand scale. Karma and our actions. Well, karma is a reaction to our actions, but it is our influence in this world. And we realize that we'll have multiple lives to work through many actions. And every action that we take has an impact on our future actions in this life and the effects from the world and where we'll end up in our next life. So we often tread more carefully. We often understand that as a soul, our exchange with everything that is not a single lifetime affair. It is a long process a soul has to go to find itself. Now, what happens when we find ourselves, or if we go to heaven and hell for a time and come back here, or if there's a certain afterlife for a part of us and then a part of us moves on, that is very much up to debate for the vast majority of spiritual people, I'd say. But a lot of us, most of us, spiritual people, want to have a positive impact, just like most people in society. We just have different ideas about what that impact is and how we can serve that purpose in this world, at this time with this life. That is the difference. But do not think that spiritual people, I mean, I'll speak for, I guess, somebody that's like me, or me. I speak for myself. Um, we also like beer. We also like having somebody that we love in our arms. We also like living a comfortable life. We also like having an exchange with people in the community that is very, basic, very materialistic, just average day chit chat. We like to have a relationship with those around us, regardless if they have the exact same purpose or motivations or modus operandi in their lives right now. We want to live in a symbiotic relationship, even with people who do not have the kind of sense of purpose that we have. And that's perfectly fine. True spiritual people do not judge vast numbers of people around them. Maybe here and there they say, okay, I'm going to stay away from this person, or that person made a bad decision, but we want to be a part of everything else. We're just a little bit different part. Now, as spiritual people, we often think that, okay, if I drink this amount of beer, then it's just going to be bad karma. And I think that too. And I drink quite a bit of beer, maybe too much. I say, okay, I'm smoking this cigarette now, and I accept that this is not the correct thing to do. But oftentimes we're aware that there is a negative karmic reaction from the world for what we're doing now. So in a sense, spiritual people can be considered more foolish if they make an incorrect action, if they make an action that is materially based on satisfaction, fears, desires, etc. Now, this actually pertains to a higher karmic impact, because if you're aware of what you're doing has negative karma, if you're aware of karma, then the karmic punishment or reward the punishment is much greater. And that's something that we always keep in our hearts. And people who think about God, the spirits, the gods, and the general tradition that we're in, or the multiple traditions that we have in a nexus, as I do, we have these understandings at play in everything that we do, and guilt rises to a whole nother level. Though if we truly feel guilty enough, we'll change. It can be said that I do not feel guilty enough about drinking too much or smoking, so I have not changed. Now, it takes a certain element of recklessness in a spiritual person to have understanding of the reaction from the world, the universe, and for this life and the next life, and the next life, and the next life. It takes a certain sense of recklessness, because if you have that knowledge and you still do negative things like I sometimes do, or things that are very materialistic like drinking or smoking, then it has to be reckless and not ignorance. Ignorance is actually a good excuse if you are truly ignorant. If you do not know anything about the universe, how it reacts to us, and how your actions affect the world around you, then you cannot be punished as terribly as somebody who is aware of all the interactions we have with the multiverse. Now, we spiritual people, there's many different levels. I don't consider myself a high level, but there are many different levels of spirituality, even in the many different traditions. So it is more like a nebulous idea about where we're at spiritually, because there's so many different traditions and we overlap in many ways. But there is no one level for that all traditions meet, and you say, okay, this person's at this level for all the traditions. It's more of a nebulous matter, deciding or interpreting how spiritual a person is. But regardless, what spiritual people want is to benefit everyone else because they know that it benefits them. But if they're especially spiritual if they want to benefit everyone else, not because it benefits them, but because of compassion, of love. If that is the motivating factor, that person is very spiritual. That person has a motivation that is pure. If you do the right thing because it is right, not because you'll get something in return, not because somebody saw you do it, or because it gives you hope for your life, but you do it just because it's the right thing, that person has the purest motivations, and that person is especially spiritual. And I do not act in that way all the time. I mean, I act in that way some of the time, yes, but I try to tune myself into doing what's right for the sake of it being right, not because of what I'll get in return. So that's a caveat, I guess you could say, for a spiritual person who understands karma. Is that if you're not expecting, I mean, if you know you'll get something back in return, but you're not doing it because you will, then that person is especially virtuous. They have a certain dignitas to their soul, and they are sattvic, I guess you could say. Sattvic is a pure nature that combines also with restlessness, rajas, and tamas, darkness, to make different combinations of people and things in this world, in the material universe. But regardless, I hope this has cleared up a few things about what spiritual people want, and I can only speak for some, not all, most certainly. But hey, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot down in the comment section below on YouTube. If you like this video at all, hit that thumbs up down there. It's greatly appreciated, and I will see all of you in the future.